What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today's video, let's look at the Bitcoin white paper, and I'm gonna debunk most of those mystery about this, and I will try to do the best I can to explain why and the reason behind Bitcoin, and I'll try to do a resume on like the basics, especially for newcomers into the space. If you're new to Bitcoin and you hear about the blockchain all the time, and this is a blockchain demo, which is like a simulator of how you can create a blockchain over here. You see, those are blocks one, two, three, all the way down, and you have the peers. Each of these peers are basically node that has a record of the blockchain. So I'm just gonna try to go over this and explain the best in of my knowledge about this. Hopefully, you guys find some value into this, and I'll show you some other interesting thing. A node, like how Bitcoin node works, and like also we have Bitcoin server, which is BTC Pay that allow you to receive payment on the internet. Now, this first, let's check on this, the basics. Okay, so but as a like a new comer into Bitcoin, you don't really need to understand like the basics of how the blockchain works, right? Like, how many of us drive cars, right? Like, do we know how the gas system work, right? When we press the gas and the car, go faster. We don't know that. We just put the fuel into the car and then start it and go. Um, it's the same thing for Bitcoin. There are a lot of things you don't really need to know, but at the same time, if you have so much exposure into Bitcoin and you want to know more about it, right? Then yeah, sure, why not? Let's dig into it, right? Sometime you may have your car. You could just, like if you know like how you could do some basic maintenance, that can save you so much money. Like at least know the basics of it, right? So let's say knowing how to basically put air in your tires, right? Like you could clean your car or do some basic maintenance, like very mild maintenance. So this is what we're gonna do here, okay? So basic for new user. A new user, you can get started with Bitcoin without understanding the technical details. Once you are installed, uh, once you've installed a Bitcoin wallet on your computer or mobile phone, it will generate your first Bitcoin address, and you can create more whenever you need one. You can disclose your address to your friends so that they can pay you. Um, sorry, they can pay you or vice versa. In fact, this is pretty similar to how email works, except that Bitcoin addresses should be used only once. So this is basically what it is. When they said you can send your address to your friend, what they really mean, they mean about the address for you to receive the payment, the public key, not the private key. Okay, there's difference. So you don't want to send your private address to your friend. You want to send the address to receive the payment. I will show you how this look like. Um, so you can receive payment, right? Not your private key, because private key will allow them to access your money. Yeah. So they said this is similar to how email works, except that Bitcoin addresses should be used only once. So what does that mean? That means like when you create the email address, you can create like as how many email you want, depending on the company how many they allow you to. Um, But you, the only thing is, with Bitcoin, you can create an infinite amount of addresses. Like it's, there's no like way. You don't need to try to, save. Like there's no memory problem in Bitcoin. It's like it's a infinity universe of numbers you can create address to, and there's no waste there. And also, but the only problem is when you create a wallet, or when you create a Bitcoin address, you want to make sure that once you receive a payment, you don't want to, use the same address to keep receiving payment over and over. Because the problem with that is once you do that, this address, um, it's bad for privacy because, um, they can track every single transaction. Remember, the blockchain is open, and it's visible to anyone want to check every transaction from day one. So now let's check on this balances blockchain. The blockchain is a shared public ledger on which the entire Bitcoin network relies. So this is just like this. This is a public ledger, right? So this is shared, right? And everybody can verify. It's public. Everybody can verify and check how it works. If somebody come show up and say, "Hey, I want to change something into this block," right? Instead of zero here, they put like one, right? So everything changes, right? Everything changes. So what happen here is that you see, this hash, like you see this hash over here. This changes to 8OFL. 80F1. It was before that. It was it was 0000, right? So now, because I did that, it was changed. Now, if you look at like everything else similar, right? See this hash in the second block is the same of this hash in the second block because everybody have the same copy, right? Pure A, pure B, pure C, they have the same copy of the same blockchain, of the same thing, exactly the same. If anybody try to copy, let's say somebody try to alter the blockchain, right? Try to change something to something, like crazy, right? Put 8 or put 1 here, right? It changes. Everything changes. And not only this block change, all the previous, like all the block that come after it changes too. You see, everything else changes too. See, everything is pink. Yeah. So this is the problem, and the pure A is having a problem now because he tried to change the blockchain, right? So, but the other ones, the other peers, they still run, the blockchain, right? And that's a big problem. So that's why you can't change it because everybody have the same copy. If you change your blockchain, then like you're having create a big problem for everybody else. Now, because the Bitcoin blockchain basically, once you do that, the node, other nodes will find out that you did something wrong, and they will reject you from the network. Right? They will kick you out as a miner. Or if you're a miner, you want to try to alter the blockchain. So this is, in a nutshell, what it is: a public ledger, and that the Bitcoin network relies on. All confirmed transactions are included in the blockchain. It allows Bitcoin wallets to calculate their spendable balances, uh, so that new transaction can be verified, thereby using ensuring they are actually owned by the spender. The integrity and chronological order of the blockchain are enforced with the cryptography. So it's all about cryptography. This is basically SHA-256. This is what Bitcoin uses um, for its block to generate hash, right? So yeah, in order for you to break that, you have the odds are like very small, um, and probability is very small to break that. So this is what Bitcoin uses to secure its blockchain. And the problem is, you see all those other blockchain try to do the same thing. I say, hey, if Bitcoin can do that for money, to secure money, maybe we can do that to secure files, data. Maybe we can do that to secure, for um, property rights, arts, NFTs, stuff like that. And people start to realize, okay, yeah, we can do that for so many other things. And when we realize, hey, okay, you want to put social media on the blockchain, you want to put all those things on the blockchain, music, and all those things. And people were like, okay, yeah, but the blockchain is very inefficient system, and the money doesn't have to be fast, right? The money, like gold, is doesn't have to be fast, as like to, it just have to be trusted and strong and really solid and very hard to, you know, to change, very hard to corrupt. That's what money has to be, right? But those other applications, they don't need to, right? Like social media just have to be censorship resistant, right? Just have to be so that nobody can change, nobody can kick you out of the platform. That's what it has to be. You don't have to make it so that somebody change like something on your platform. You just have to be stay there. Nobody can take you out. But the blockchain does not guarantee you to have like fast, you know, extremely fast and so much throughput transaction, right? So um, and this is the block. This is token when you have token on the blockchain, and when people can transact. You see when everybody on you know who on what, right? And people can transact to each other on the blockchain, right? It's basically made for money, right? Who owns what, who holds what, right? Um, and it has to be scarce in order for that to work, right? And Bitcoin is the most scarce um, digital item on the internet because it's created by using energy. We will get there, but it's just like to the irony is the fact that all of the blockchain pretend they can use the Bitcoin, the blockchain to do all of those applications. It's really funny. But and when you realize the most successful and the one who's gonna be the most successful are gonna be the ones that are very centralized, and what they have is not at all the blockchain. It's not really a blockchain. It's just centralized database where a few group of people hold like the most of those hold the control most of those nodes, which are like big database servers, and you can't really run a node. But for Bitcoin, you can. That's a difference. So let's look at the white paper. Okay, what Bitcoin solve? Because this is what one of the most important thing I should talk about, because this was the promise of this video. Um, a peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payment to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. That's the point. Simple as that, right? So, and you have over here, they said, commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exactly and financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. You have to have trust into the system. You need to trust the bank for not creating more money. But we all know that once you deposit your money there, they take it out and they start multiplying it and to create loan to give to somebody else for higher interest. So and they do that over and over and over again, you think you have money on the bank, but your $100 you deposited, only what is there is just $4, and everything else is just those are just representation of it. They're just digit on the computer, on your phone or on your laptop. So um, completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. Okay, those financial institutions, they have to get involved to mediate disputes, right? They have to make sure that if something go wrong, they have to go and reverse that transaction, right? If your credit card got hacked or something happened to it, somebody have to get in and reverse that transaction. And if you want to make a payment and they don't like what you're buying, they have to stop it, right? So you have to have a middleman trying to block you. If you have There's a certain limit you can withdraw from your account daily. So those are the problems. The cost of mediating increases transaction cost, limiting the minimum practical transaction size, right? And cutting off the possibility for small closure transactions. And there is a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need, right? So you have to put your credit card number on the internet, all the numbers, all the information. In order to pay, you have to give all your private keys into the internet so you can pay for a pair of shoes, you can pay for a laptop. You have to give your all those numbers on the credit card. You have to give the date of the expiration, and you have to give the 3 digit in the back. Those are all private keys, and you have to give to all that into the internet so the merchant can go themselves extract the money and make sure that you have to trust them so they don't break into your all your account. And once you have to do that, and also it's all a mess, it's all a mess, and you have no defense against that. You have no defense against that. So and a certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. These cost and payment uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currencies, but no merchant, no mechanism exists to make payment over a communication channel without a trusted party. Right? So if you want to make a payment over a communication channel, you need a trusted party, right? Like if you want to make a payment over the internet, which is a communication channel, you have to have somebody in the middle, right? So what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Now, here you have this is the solution, right? You need payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust. Cryptographic proof, and this proof, you need proof of work. Computers that can, you know, you know, secure that transaction, right? So instead of men with guns, you need something that can secure that for you. And you have all those other blockchain, like they say, hey, we're gonna proof of stake can do the same thing more efficiently. Oh yeah. All right. So what you have basically with proof of stake, you have a bunch of people holding a bunch of coin on their computers and say, hey, we are securing your transaction for you, and we're making sure that everything works fine because we have a lot of money in stake. We can't afford to make a mistake by trying to steal your money, because if we do, we will get sanctioned and we can lose our money. Okay, yeah, that's not really true, because if all those parties come together, they say, hey, we're gonna censor all this transaction that's going to this address. They can't, because it's a proof of stake. They have the authority to do so, right? That's what it's called. If you have, when you get into deep trouble, those authorities, those takers, or those validators will come together and find a solution. When you're in times of very bad time, this is when you're gonna see what is true, right? But with proof of work, it's all based on nature. It's all based on electricity. Electricity can't talk. It's just physics, right? So they can't decide. They just have to do whatever it is. It's just proof of work. It's different from, it's outside of human decision making. There's no person in the middle. That's the difference. That's a fundamental difference. And this is why what those proof of stake people don't really understand. They just they just think like they can avoid the energy. Like they think they can save energy, but they understand the fundamental problem Bitcoin solves, right? So allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Okay, this is it. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud. Transactions that are computationally practically practical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanism could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attackers' nodes. So, the system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power, right? This is it, right? This is it. So, you need a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server, and right. So this is it. You need timestamp, and what they use Adam Back Hashcash to do so. And you have the transaction of a year, and this is the owner of public key. The first public key, you have the hash, and you have the verification, and you go step by step, and this is how it works basically. Over here, you see, from the peer, the first block, you have this hash, right? Um, and you have basically everything has to be succeed to each other. They have to be connected. And the first, the second uh, block has to be to have the record of the first one, right? And then on and on, right? It go on and on. So this is basically what the blockchain is, right? So when you look at over here, you see this hash, right? This hash over here has a record of the previous hash. This is the previous one, right? So you see, they're all, it's the same thing over here, right? So and then if you go further, let's try to get there. Yeah, if you go there, you see this over here is the same as this, and you see this over here and this over here. This hash, this is the previous, right? So you have this is what make the chain, and this is what they're saying in this in the white paper over here. See, you have the previous one um, always in the record, right? You have the previous one always in the record, um, so that they cannot be you can't really modify that, right? Immutability. So yeah, guys. So this is it, and I and this is this talk about the timestamp server and all of that. I try to I'm gonna stop here and I'm gonna continue of the video and you will so I can talk about the rest. I don't want to keep it too long, right? So yeah, see you in the next episode of this video. Bye, cover.